Hey friends, it's Kelly here with Kelly Crafts It All. Today I thought I would bring to you a tutorial on a reinforced box. It measures about 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, and it's all reinforced. It's, double thick, so it's a real sturdy box, pretty sturdy box. It'll hold, quite a heavy, not a real heavy gift, but a good, fairly heavy gift. And then we're going to use our handmade bows. If you watched my video before, if not, I'll leave a link in the description box and in the card. It'd probably be on your right hand side. In the top right hand corner, there'll be a little card that will give you a link to the handmade bows. This is kind of like my no cutting machine, no die set kind of series, I guess. I don't know if it's a series or not, but I'm just trying to make more things that don't involve dies and they don't involve cutting machines. So let's get on with this. So I'm an 8.5 by 11 inch junkie, and I love my 8.5 by 11 paper. This is 65-pound cardstock. I usually get the Astra Bright from Walmart, and this is in the I forget what color this is. It's just the white paper. They have white, black, and then they have colors, but this is the white. And you're going to need, about maybe 4-ish pieces. But you'll need definitely 2 for the box, 1 for the lid, so you'll need 3, and then you'll need another piece for the bottom part and the inside. So you'll need about 4 pieces. So, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to score. And don't mind me, I'm nasally. I'm getting over some bronchitis. Well, it's not even really bronchitis. It's was a sinus infection. I had really bad sinus infection, I guess, and so they called me in some antibiotics. I went to the doctor, they got antibiotics, so I'm starting to feel a little bit better, so I thought I'd bring this tutorial. Alright, on our 11-inch side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. And then we're going to score at 5 3/4. We're going to rotate this around so that that 1/2 inch that we just scored is at the bottom. And we're going to score on the 8.5 inch side at 1.5 inches. And then at 5. So whatever you did on this, do it identical on the next one. Okay, so on our 11-inch side, we're scoring at 1/2 inch. And at 5 3/4. I'm rotating mine so that my 1/2 inch tab is at the bottom towards me. And I'm scoring at 1.5 inches. And at 5. Oop. Okay, so we have 2 pieces. And these should be identical. So you can go in there and burnish your score lines. If you don't have a bone folder, you can use the edge of your scissors. You could use a butter knife. You can use anything, ruler, anything to burnish them down. Alright, the first cuts that we're going to make is on that 1/2 inch tab. We're going to make a tab. But on that 1/2 inch tab, you're going to have the top one, the bottom one, and then the middle one. We want to leave the one that's in the middle. You'll see a top and a middle and a bottom. Leave the middle. So I like to go in and cut on that little line up to the square line. And then I'm just going to, it's kind of crooked there. And I'm just going to cut that off, this one off. And I'm going to cut that bottom one off. So it should look like that. And if you want, you can miter your edges there, just to take out some bulk. And we're going to repeat that on the second piece. Okay, so we should have two that look the same. And then on the bottom part here where you've folded the skinnier end, you have the two bigger rectangles. The skinnier rectangle at the bottom, you want to just cut up that one score line there. And you can do that on both of those. Okay. Now with your double-sided tape, wet glue, whatever kind of glue you're using, I'm just going to run a little bit of glue on that where that 1/2-inch tab was. And I think my glue is clogged up because I had it sitting here open. Forgot to put my pin back in there. And then I'm just going to match that up like that. Making sure I have all those score lines going across matched up. And if you want to, you can even take a, I like to take and bend mine up and kind of even everything up and burnish that down. Okay, so we should have this. And then we're going to have these two large top pieces that we're going to glue these down. Now, when you're gluing these down, this one here, I think, that we can glue this one all the way down. So I'm just going to run my glue on this top one here. It's the big one. Not the small one. The small one's at the bottom. That's the bottom. Okay. Glue this one down. Now I'm trying out this. I put this piece of paper down here. I had somebody send me a message and said that the desk is the lights glare off the desk and it's a little distracting. So I don't know. I thought I'd try this if it works. If it's fine, if it don't, let me know so I know not to use it anymore. Alright, so now we have the other side here. I'm going to do the same thing. Oh, that could include. What I like to do is I like to take my tab. Now you can put it on the inside of your box after you folded it down. It's not a big deal. Or on the outside of your box like this. It's not a big deal. I'm just picky. I like mine to be tucked in between. So what I like to do is fold this down. And I'll glue it down to about maybe a 1/2 inch from here. And I'm just rubbing it to about right there. And then I'll put my box together, and I'm going to tuck that. Well, I'm going to put some glue on that tab too. Alright, bring this around like that. Tuck him in there, and then match up my edge to the paper. And then you just when you finish burnishing it down, then it's gonna look funny, and I just match it down and burnish. I like to pop it open and do the opposite, lay it back down, and then give that a good burnish. Okay, so there's your box. Ta-da! Now before we go any further, I like to decorate the outside of mine first. If you're decorating, or if you've just used a designer paper and you're not gonna decorate the outside, that's fine too. But if you want to decorate, let's see what we got over here. Alright, I've got 4 pieces here of my designer series paper, and they measure 3 1/4 high by 5 inches wide. or long, whatever, width, lengths. So they're 3.25 inches high by 5 inches long. Okay, so they'll just fit right in your little squares, like so. Just, now if you want to ink your edges and get real fancy with that, you can decorate these however your little heart desires. I'm just keeping it kind of simple, but you can get really decorative and make them real pretty. Just flip it over and I'll do these other two, and I'll be back with you when I get those done. Okay, I have mine done. So there's my box, and then you just pop this open. And I like to get my scoreboard back out. Now you don't have to. You do this however you want. And I like to lay mine up in the corner, and then that way it kind of makes it more square. Now I'm just going to fold in 2 edges and then 2 edges. Like that. I'm going to open those two. And then I'm just going to put some glue. I mean, you just put some in the corner here to hold that down. I'm putting mine on all 4 corners. I hope that's in frame. Just like that. And then I'll take these two, put those in there. I'm going to push my box into the corner a little bit, and it'll square it up for you. Let that glue take a hold for a second, and then I'll flip it over, and then I'll go on the inside and push them down. And you can go in there with your bone folder, ruler, whatever you have, and kind of squish them down. And there's your box. Now if you wanted to decorate the inside, you can do that. It's up to you. And then for the bottom of the box, you're going to need one piece that measures 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, and you're going to probably have to cut just a little sliver off. We'll find out though. You never know. So I have mine in here, and I'm just going to I'm going to cut mine at 5 1/4. And we're going to see how that works. And that's going to be for this bottom of my box, so that fits just fine. And I'm just going to put my glue on my box here. And then I'm just going to put this on and line that up. Now if you have any hanging over the edges, just after it dries a bit, you can go with some scissors and trim it up if you need to. Just gonna push that down. And now the inside, you can do with it whatever you want. I went ahead and cut a piece of designer series paper to put in the bottom of mine, and I cut it at 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. Now it's going to be tight because it's the inside of the box. So this is where you might have to trim it a little bit. Oh, I got it stuck down in there. Now I can't get it out. Sorry for my arm in the way. I did get my little tool there. So all you're going to do is wherever it kind of bows up a little bit, I just keep going in here I start out at 5 1/4, and then I just go in and I'm just going to take a sliver, just a sliver off. Just that little bit, about a 1/16 of an inch. I'm going to start with that, and then I'm going to try. And that usually does the job if you take about a 1/16 of an inch off of one side or the, and you just kind of have to fiddle with it till you get it to where you like yours. And that is working good for me, so I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. Okay, so I just kind of go into one side and push it in there. Like I said, if you want to decorate the inside of your box, you are more than welcome to put, your panels inside. You can. And then that's the box. That part's done. And if, like I said, if after it dries a little bit, you might have some hanging over, you can just kind of take your scissors and just run along there and trim it off. I don't have any, but if I did, that's what I would do. So now we're going to work on the lid. And your lid, you're going to need a piece that measures 8 1/2 by 8 1/2. I need to cut mine. Usually I have mine cut, but I didn't this time. So we're going to do 8 1/2 by 8 1/2. We're going to put this in the scoreboard. And now this is crucial. You need to have, I like to take the edge of a piece of cardstock and set it in my scoreboard right up against the edge. And then then I put my paper in. And I hold it there and I don't move it. And now I'm going to score this. Check my notes. Okay, 3/4 of an inch. And 1 5/8. So 5/8, you just count over on your scoreboard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the tick mark after the 1/2 inch. I'm going to do that for all 4 sides. So I'm going to make sure I put my paper in there real tight up against the edge. If you want, you could take and make yourself a little, I don't know if I have mine here or not. I did have one. But I just took a piece of my cardstock and I tucked it in here like this. And I just kind of folded it over. And then I just took double-sided tape and put it on there and made myself a little jig, but this is good enough. It's just to put that paper up against there. Just make sure it's up against there. And do the same thing. You're going to score at 3/4. And 1 5/8. We're just going to keep doing that on all 4 sides. Okay, so we have our lid scored. And you can go ahead and fold and burnish those lines down if you want. Okay, so you're going to have to cut, we're going to cut this. But first, now if you're new to this, when you do this, you're going to have 4 little, on the corner, you'll have 4 little squares, or squarish. So if you mark them, like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You'll see you have 4. Now, I like to cut the same way each way. So on that second score line, I got my other scissors, I don't like those ones. on that very first score line, not this one, the one towards there, I'm going to cut straight up. And then on the second score line out on towards the outside, towards my left, I'm going to cut up that one. So you should have two that look like that. I'm going to come over here to my right hand side and I'm going to do the same thing. And if you need to fold yours so that you can see your score line, you can do that. And I'm going to come up and do this. And then I like to just take mine and just flip it towards me and do the same thing. And you're cutting up to that second score line. Well, so pass the first one up to the second one. Just trying to make it where maybe you could see the score line. So run up to that second score line. Okay, now you can flip it back over, and then you should have now two separate things that have 4 squares. So we have 3 and 4 down here at the bottom, and you're going to come into the the first score line and the second score line. The one closest to the inside, you're going to cut that one completely off. You have 1 and 2 left, and you're just going to cut number 2 off. If you have to bend these back and get them out of your way, you can. And so it should look like this. And I'm just going to come in here and do the same thing. I'm going to cut that first one off closest to the box, that score line. I'm going to cut it completely off, which will leave me one long one with one tab on there, and you're just going to cut that first score line off. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to cut up just like that. Just like that. So it should look like this. When you're all done with it. Okay. So then we're going to go in here and on our tabs, you can take our tabs first and you can miter the corners in. Just, I just lay my scissors in about 1/8 of an inch and then cut up to that corner. That just helps fold the box and reduce some bulk. Okay, and then we can, I like to take my box and the side that has my tabs, on the very first flap, I'll run my glue. Try not to get it all over everywhere. And I'll just go ahead and fold them in and burnish those down. Now it's the one with the tabs. Don't do the ones without the tabs on it, or you will not have no place for your tabs to go. It's the side with the tabs. And if you don't like doing that, then just glue your tabs in first to your box and then go around and fold them in if you want. And then I take my tabs and fold them in. Give them a little glue. And then you're folding them into that. If it's away from me, it's the first. This is like number 1. And this is number 2. I'm going to glue it to number 1. You want to make sure you line them, your edge to your corner. same here. I'm going to do the same on the opposite side. And then you have the two flaps sticking out. That are going to tuck inside, so I just put some glue on there. Put that one inside, and you can burnish it in the bone folder. Make sure you get your glue all squished around. And do it to, sometimes if you have to fold them out, you can, so it's easier to get to glue in. Burnish that down real good. And if you're taking pinch my corners in a little bit. And with luck, we'll have a top that fits our box. Pretty snugly, but it shouldn't, your box shouldn't be bowing in or anything. It shouldn't be going in like that or anything. So sometimes if it fits one way and it's really snug, flip the lid around, it might fit a little bit better. And that's why I say it's really crucial to have that paper there, or you know, be able to move your paper out at least a 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch. But it's pretty tight. So then if you want to, you can decorate your top. I have this here. This is 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. Glue that on, and it's supposed to be 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, but I think I measured mine wrong because right now mine's a little bit too big. So if that's the case, and I've got glue all over it, I'll just kind of just lay it in here where I like it, and then I'll just come in about 1/4 of an inch on either side. I must have miscalculated that one. I got glue on mine, but that's okay. I'm going to come in and trim that off a little bit. And now we can glue it down. Make sure you get your corners and your edges real good so they don't pop up. And you can use double-sided tape or whatever makes you happy. Just going to try to lay that in there as even as I can. I'll flip it over and burnish. If you want to do the inside of your box top, you can. So that. And then I decorated mine. I just put a little, make it look like there was a ribbon on it. And I cut 2 pieces that are 1 by 8.5. It was, you know, I had the piece left over, so from when I cut my lid from 8.5, and I just cut 2 pieces off that were 1 inch wide. And I just took that and I laid it in here. Matter of fact, I took the edge of this and put it on the inside of my box. Then I kind of right in the center there, and I just folded it over and creased it, and I folded it over and creased it there, and just smoothed it over and creased it here and flipped it over, creased it there, just like that. Now if you want, you're picky and you want yours to match there, you can go in here and trim this off a little bit, or if you want to, you can lay it in here and get it, you know, even like that. However you want to do it, doesn't really matter. But before, well, if you want to decorate the outside edge of your box, you can do that too. And these, I have these little strips here that I cut at, I'm trying to remember, how did I cut these at? They're 5 by 3/4. 3/4 by 5. And you can glue those down around the edge of your box, or if before you put your whole box together, if you wanted to put them on while it was flat, you could have done that too, but I didn't. You might want to leave them just a bit longer on the end. I may have cut them a little too short. You might want to go 5 1/4 and try that. Okay, so there I have my edges all on. Now I would, you know, proceed to work with these, but since I've got them done that way, it's fine. Now if you want to go ahead and decorate even further, I went ahead and cut myself like a 1/4 inch strip of paper, and you can just kind of just run a bead of glue down the center. And you can glue that on. Or if you want to use roll ribbon, you could do that too. Or you don't have to put any ribbon on it at all. Maybe you have a really fancy top for your box that you found. Okay. And then you can just like to go in here and glue this down first so I can find my center. Try to make sure I got that in the middle. You can go there on your lid and burnish them all down. It could be a little snugger. Got that, so then we have that goes on our box now. Just like that. And if your lid seems to be a little too tight, you can kind of just play with it, and I just like to kind of like stretch the corners out a little bit. And that usually helps too. And then we have the bow that we made the other day on my channel. I showed you how to make these bows with no machines or dies. You have that you can put there. If you want to make a tag, you can make a tag. You don't even have to have a machine or that either. I had one cut, but anyhow, what I'm using is a 2-inch piece of cardstock. I like to measure mine on my board because I can actually see the numbers on here. So I'm going to measure this 2 by about 3 inches. Doesn't have to be exact. And I'm gonna cut that. Now if you have fancy paper, you know, some foils or some glitter cardstock or something that you can use, you can do that as well. If I have this here, I could have used this. And cut that. Matter of fact, let's use it. Pretty. So I'm gonna cut this at 3. And this side, I think it's a little straighter. And by 2. And then all I did was I took my ruler, I can find that now, and I just measured down a 1/2 inch from the top of the tag. On both sides. And then I just turned it around this way, and then I measured a 1/2 inch. And then I measured a 1/2 inch on the other side. And if you need to draw your lines, you can. And I just nip that off. If you want, you could take the other one, flip it around, and use it as a template and cut it if you want. Or you can just, with your pencil marks, tip to tip, trim it, and have a tag. If you got pencil marks, you can erase them. And then I just used a standard hole punch. I just eyeballed it. Still got one in there. Just eyeball it. And you have your tag. And you can use, I have some baker's twine. Well, this is red and white. Doesn't really match, but for demonstration purposes, it will. And I just fold my baker's twine. Just cut a piece off, fold it in half. Put it through the hole. Open that up. Loop it. Hot glue gun out, and I'm gonna put some glue on my bow. Bow on. My box, and I have my tag. I just usually take my tag and kind of run it up under the bow, and then I'll just kind of tie it off to the side there so it hides the knot. Well, that doesn't have to be hidden. It's not a big deal. Just doing that like so. Cut them off, and if it matched it'd look prettier, but I just grabbed what I had. And then you have your tag. You know, you can rubber stamp on them, you can color on them, you can print on them, do whatever you want to do with your tags. You can decorate your tags up, like I just got these beautiful rosettes from Swap. And these came from Miss Emily in our gingerbread swap. And these really pretty little rosettes. Find something that, like this. You could put a, you know, a little rosette on your tag. Make it pretty. You could just put the rosette on the box, and those would be pretty too. And that's it. There is a 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 inch reinforced box that you can use to give a gift in that It's a pretty decent sized gift. Like I have my baker's twine in this mason jar. I can lay that in there. It's a little big, but it fits. It's a little big, but it's fitting in there, and it's holding it. It's not going anywhere. The bottom's not falling out or anything. So that's it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, hit that like and that subscribe button, and let me know that you enjoyed this video. The comments and likes all help my channel to grow. And I thank you for joining me, and thank you for my subscribers. I appreciate you every one of you. I appreciate y'all so much. If it wasn't for you viewing and subscribing to my channel, I wouldn't be here. But I'd be here. It just wouldn't have as many. But I'm just appreciative that I have as many as I do. So, that's it. Hope to have a few more tutorials for Christmas gift ideas before Christmas. I have a few up my sleeve here, so I'm going to try to bring them to you here and there when I get a minute. So go and make yourself some gift boxes. They're simple and easy and don't require a whole lot of paper or cardstock. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Alright guys, take care. Remember, I love each and every one of you. Bye-bye.